Um, don't you feel that change of scenery, the season? It really kicked in, didn't it? It kind of went, we are now full force into our autumn term. And with that, there is kind of this essence in the world around slowing down. So what I thought we'd do is apply that principle. Let's do everything today, super mega slow it down. Okay, so we're going to mobilize for general well-being, but with the essence of really grounding ourselves and really connecting with the earth. I know, I've had time to think. Feet in line with knees in line with hips. Bring your hands to your sides, open up through your collarbone, settle your shoulder blades down your back. Pull and connect with your pelvic floor. So I want you to think about that tension on a gentle squeeze, contraction of the pelvic floor, and a little tilt under. So when you start to tilt your bottom under, you might even feel a bit of a pull-in sensation here in your hip flexors. That will also help us to create that flattening effect at the front of the body. Okay, so for a moment, let's do some long breaths. In Pilates, it's lateral thoracic breathing, so inhaling through the nostrils to expand the ribs. Exhaling, and as we breathe out, not only are we lifting up the pelvic floor, but we're bringing everything into the center and creating that tension on. Inhaling through the nostrils, spreading the toes, exhaling. Everything is shortening and coming in to the center, the core, middle of our body, lifting the pelvic floor, and just thinking about that whole pelvic floor to diaphragm connection. Okay, the next thing we need to do is to mobilize the body. And today we'll just start with some just slow, gentle rolls of the shoulders, drawing those shoulders up around to your ears and then to the back of the room behind you before we come forward again. So as we would, notice change, notice sensations in your body, notice where attention needs to be focused. Start to use your elbows here. And as you continue with those circles, I want you to notice your shoulder blades, squeezing your shoulder blades together. And if you're finding this is starting to cause a bit of trouble around the shoulder, often we'll encourage one side only. It just might feel a little easier. Okay, from here, let's take your right hand and let's bring it across the body and back again. So palm down, rotate palm up. Palm down, rotate palm up. Now, you're going to go bigger. Palm up and around, palm down, palm up and around. Palm down, up and around. And I'm doing this because this will start to target into the rotator cuff. So the smaller muscles around the back of the shoulder. I'm going to freak you out already because I'm going to encourage you to try and do this the other way around. So like, how did I do that? Right, so palm up, palm down, palm up, palm down. So it just feels a little bit of a wrist thing going on. Got it? And the idea again is just checking in at your elbow joint, checking in at your shoulder joint. Relax your arm. Okay, let's think about this the other side. I forgot what to do. Okay, so palm up and down. So there is a shortening through the shoulder and then an opening through the shoulder. So again, just seeing if we can release anything around the whole of the deltoid. So on top of the shoulder at the same time, make it bigger. And allowing the rest of the body to sway with you as you perform this movement. There's no tests. But again, notice what's going on in your shoulder blade. I think that's quite important here. And see if we can then reverse where the palm is. And this is just simply just checking in with your elbow. Again, we tend to get quite tight around the elbow joint to the wrist. Okay, lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, let's think about the hips. And what I'd like to do is, I know I've chopped my head off, but what I'd like to do is just lift up one hip at a time. So left and right. Okay, so with this, this is using the ball of your foot to push the whole leg upwards without actually bending the knees or releasing the knees off. So you go up, up. Now, this will feel a bit odd, and you might feel a little bit of aggro into that sacroiliac joint. Now, let's see if we can figure of eight this now. So we're going to do a left leg, circle back, right leg, circle back. So it becomes more of a figure of eight. So be okay with lifting up the heel. So, and this is really trying to get a little bit more mobility going into the back and the hips. Lovely, lovely. Okay, and we'll relax now. We're going to wrap the hands around the body and let the hands slap into your body. Look over your shoulders. You can make this a little bit more forceful and almost bash yourself as you wrap. Boom, boom. Now, this is a method, and I know in Chinese medicine this is used to help to drain your kidneys. I know. So be okay with it. It's like little thuds almost. Good, 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 good. Okay, now I'm coming onto one leg, so I'm going to stand on my left leg, and I just want my right leg to scoop forward and back. Now I'm using my arms for balance, forward and back. When we break this down, the flow is flexion, extension of the hip. So, but we're using momentum. So there's not a lot of effort as such, but this is really about once you've got going, keep going, find a nice little method here. And be conscious again of the inner thigh into the inside of the bottom when you do that. By now, that left static hip will start to, you're aware of it. Okay, so let's switch sides again. We're standing on the right, same thing, forward and back. Work on getting that leg backwards. Lovely. And that should feel quite nice. It's like you get into a nice little rocker tot rhythm there when you perform this. Beautiful. Lovely, lovely. Doesn't that feel nice? Okay, so sideways, similar thing. It will feel less natural. So we're taking the leg into a swing, out to the side and back again, out to the side and back again. Yeah, so and your arms might want to go with you on this. Okay. And then switch sides. It does feel quite dancey, doesn't it? Toe down. So again, it's just allowing for a little bit of inertia, get you going into a bit of momentum. So once you're going, let's keep you going. Okay, so that in turn should be warming up everything. Your ankles are nice and warm. Now what I'd like to think about is how the knees are feeling. So in order to do that, what I'd like us to do is come down onto the floor. So it's a knee, boom, 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 boom. All right? For a minute there for me, if you can, just curl your toes under your heels. I don't know if we need to be on the other camera. Okay, so all I'm trying to do here is curl my toes under my heels. And I remember back in the day, when some of the ladies that I was working with would go, that's really uncomfortable. And I could never really get into that headspace and fully appreciate that. Now I really do. So this is helping us to stretch out that fascia in the foot, the underneath, and also to stretch out at our toes. And if we're coming out of flip-flop season, there is a tendency that we've been holding on with our tiptoes. So just allow our feet to stretch out for a minute. Now, what I said was I wanted to work on the knee range, hip range, and legs as we move up and down. So what I'd like us to do is literally come from a box position, back onto your heels, and then forward again. So again, this is more mobility than it is anything else. But the great benefits here are, firstly, bum towards heels. You're starting to get a bit of release work in your back. Come forward, you've got a wrist bone load. So sit back, come forward. Just work with it. Enjoy. Okay, lovely. Now watch. I'm coming back into a box position and I've turned my fingernails in on each other. And I'm just going to go side to side in a little rock. Pressing my index fingers in towards the ground. And this again will enable me to stretch out through my wrists and create a lovely connection into my shoulders. Got it? Okay, sit back for me. So there we've got lovely little stretch out the knees. So we're looking at reducing that range of movement in the knees. That's good. Lovely connection with the ground. Okay, so here we are finally. Narrow hands, thinking hands into the shoulders. And if you stretched out your thumbs, your thumbnails could potentially touch each other. That's the narrow base. Lowering your face towards the floor. Exhale to push it back upwards. Inhaling to lower. Exhaling to push up. Now, if we're a little bit out of practice with this, what I'd encourage is either not get all the way to the floor if you don't think you can get the way back up, or drop down onto your forearms and come back up. But the key is your breath. Inhaling to lower, exhaling to rise. Another point here, if you are feeling a bit tight in the shoulders, you could just take your hands a little bit wider, but still focus on the elbows pointing backwards. So just a little wider if you want to. See how you feel about that. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, from there, curl toes under heels and straight up into downward dog. Yes, I don't normally do this at this point. What I want you to think about here is that lovely long stretch. Feel that stretch through the back side of the body. Settle into it and enjoy. A trick here would be to rise up onto your tiptoes and then once again settle your heels towards the ground. Enjoy that stretch through the back of the leg. Now from here, we're going to come forward into a plank. Breath in. Exhale into a plank position. And because we're moving straight back into downward dog, it doesn't feel too onerous. Inhaling as you come forward. Exhaling as you push back. Now, I'd like you to do this with me 3 or 4 more times, please. Covered in. Fluff, we need to hoover it, don't we? Beautiful. And then from there, please, I'd like us to pop the knees down. Let your belly slowly lower towards the ground and then lie on your belly for a second. Hands, hand placement. Hands either side of your chest wall. Shoulders back and down, so gently squeeze those shoulders and draw the elbows back. That's your starting position. Take a breath in. Exhale. Push your body weight off the ground. Relax your bum cheeks. And slowly lower. Now, I'm going to encourage you to have your hands narrow. Exhale. To push up at the top, a little bum release. Lower down. After your third or fourth, you might find that you can take your hands a little bit lower. So further down your trunk when you press up off your body. And this again is allowing for us to do some release work in the back. At the top of the move, each time, relax your bottom, because your bum muscles will go tight and you'll feel that connection there. So I just want you to relax and release the bottom. Good job. Lovely, lovely. That feels really nice, isn't it? Lovely. Okay, push back into downward facing dog. No, child's pose, child's pose, child's pose. So a nice little stretch back. And this is where you could potentially introduce your ball. Put both hands on top of the ball, walk the ball forward and still sit back in child's pose. But this just enables you to get a stronger stretch out of your shoulders. Now we're going to stay here for probably another 10 seconds. Focus on stretching out at the elbows. So you're lifting the elbows off the ground. Okay. And release. Well done, team. Well done. Okay. So while we're on all fours, let's have a look at swimming. So I'm going to stay here just to demo with you. What I'm looking for is think about good posture. So tail tucks, belly pulled into backbone. Everything is tension on. And then from there, we're going to release your left leg and your right arm without disturbing the trunk. Now, I have learned, we're going to repeat this, same side, same side. So I've learned that there is a tendency when you lift the back leg to drift out into the diagonal. So I want you to almost overthink this and really focus on getting your big toe and inner thigh muscles firing up. And you were going really straight down the middle of your mat. So consciously draw that back leg inwards. Lovely. Okay. Sit back, release, switch sides. Think about your form. So drawing belly to backbone. When you're ready, think about lovely straight arm on your static side and come up, 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 down, down, down. Really work on that midline. Head lengthened, so we're not dangling through the neck. And again, keep doing those little micro checks of the body. So think about just drawing in navel to spine, thinking about the alignment of the hips. Everything is talking to itself and you're optimized in your posture. Well done. Two more. And release. Lovely, lovely. Okay, come and sit on your bottoms for me. We're going into a wide leg. Now, before we progress this, what I'd like you to do is to pop the ball underneath your tail or wedge it so you feel nice and upright and it's not putting too much strain into your posture, into your back. What I don't want is rounded through the shoulders and the chin jutting forward. I'd like you nice and upright, shoulders pinched together. Okay, lovely. Feet nice and wide. I don't mind how wide. And let's have a look at a couple of things. I'd like to have a little play here. Okay, so today, think that you're sunk into the ground, waist down. So all the movement is around your body, upper body above the ribs. And what I'd like you to do is imagine you're moving around a clock, okay? So your right hand will touch 12 and 1 and 3 and 4, all the way to 6, and then come back around, oh, as far as you can. So it might take you around to 9. Feel that? Doesn't your ribs feel nice? Your ribs go. Same with the left. Start at 12 and go backwards. Allow your ribs to lift. You both hit both sitting bones. So think about the bottom of the pelvis stays equal and balanced. So as you come around the back of the movement, there's almost like a chest lift. Then we come back around again, and we're just going to play with this. And you'll notice when you go onto the opposite side of the body wants to lift. So you're stuck in the ground. Oh. Then you'll notice that with a couple more repetitions, this becomes a little easier, and you can feel where those like little sweet spots are that just needs a bit more of a stretch out, right? Oh, got it? Lovely. Okay, come back to center, revisit that with arms wide. Okay, so what we're going to do now is come into good old-fashioned spine twist. But now that you're nice and primed, hopefully this will feel quite refreshing. Okay. Now, a tip to breathe out as you rotate away. You're emptying the lungs, they're getting flatter, and as the lungs are emptying, you've got more capacity to rotate. Now think about long spine, chin tucked. You're perched nice and tall, so you feel quite high up in your posture. Your shoulders feel really nice and relaxed, and your neck is long. Lovely. Okay, now do this for me. Release your arms. Take your right hand underneath your right bent knee and take your hand around the back of that right ankle. Now use this as a bit of resistance. So what I'd like you to do is press into that. So allow your right side push into that. And at the same time, we're going to open the chest and reach backwards. Okay. Switch sides, straighten off the right, bend the left, take your left hand underneath the space around the back of the ankle. Allow a bit of pressure in there. So because that pressure is opening up the hip and also opening into the shoulder. And then to make it stronger, bigger, deeper, we stretch and open. Okay, so I'm not quite done here. What I'd like us to do now is bring your left leg forward, but bend your right knee. Okay, so we're going to take the right foot across onto the left side, hold it in. Okay, got it? Now what we're going to do is start to press your right hand into the ground and pull in to chest with your left arm, your right knee. Okay, now if you want to, you can go the other side of it. So lean back, come around, and allow your elbow, the outside of your elbow, to press in. And the thing is, if there's like boobs, and it's not the most natural of positions here. Okay, we're going to release that and relax that. Okay, lengthen through your right, bend your left knee. When you're ready, pop that left foot across the right side of the body and give it a little cushion. And then we're going to take your left hand behind you, clutch in that arm, and have a little rotation. So this should start to fire into the hip muscles around the bottom, but equally your shoulder. If you want to, you can take the right arm around the outside of the leg to increase that stretch. Beautiful. The final thing here before we lie down onto our backs, we're still perched up on that ball behind us. What I'd like us to do is just hold your ankles, bring the soles of your feet together. And if you can, just start with a little rocker tot, right and left. And let's see if we can draw those heels closer to bottom. Okay, settle. Hold on to the feet, chin tucked, and just collapse downwards. rather than roll forwards. Okay, release your legs. That's lovely. Move the ball, grab a sip of water or whatever. That was good. Okay, so let's start this next bit. Oh, God, that was nice. Oh, let's start there. Roll up. Take your time. Let's just enjoy that roll down. Slow and controlled. So listen, ladies, take your attention to the pelvic floor. So think about what's going on as you roll down. Where's the pressure? So slowly, slowly connect through the pelvic floor and allow each vertebra at a time to make contact with the ground. Stretch your arms overhead and go long. Okay, I need you to slide your heels towards your bottom, lift your hips, and we're going to take that ball straight away and pop it under our tails. Okay, so it's not in the small of the back, it's on the back of the pelvis, okay? Okay, and then from here, we're going to bring up the legs into tabletop. Got it? This is your time to really connect and notice the pelvic floor. So straight away, because you're elevated higher, your angles are going to change on your legs. We don't want that. We need to think about that 90 at the knees, but probably 110 at the hips. And hold that there. So we're thinking about connecting, contracting, and drawing the walls of the vagina. We're like tight and connected. The inner thigh muscles are also talking deeper into the core and pelvis. So we're thinking about that tension and connectivity. Taking a breath in as you exhale, the right leg comes forward, skirting board high. Be conscious of big toe, inner thigh. Slowly draw it in. Inhale, exhale, send your left leg forward. Inhale, draw it in. Now, if you want to, for a little bit of choreography, left arm overhead, right leg stretch. Come back center. Left leg stretch, right arm overhead. So now we start to think about a continuous flow of super slow, controlled movement. Now, because you're elevated, I want you to think about what's going on at the top of the bikini line. So there's a connection and contraction there. Think about the knee to inner thigh connection. That we're not splaying out to the outside edges. The focus is at a straight line. Okay, draw the knees to center, send your arms upwards, palms facing towards each other, point to your toes, straighten off your knees. Okay, we're just going to do a little scissors here. 1 and 2. 1, 2. Now you can choose where you want your arms. You might want to pop your elbows down as stabilizers. Now, I will assure you, this will start to kick in a minute. Think about the straight knees. So it doesn't have to be speedy. I'm looking for a straight knee and a pointy toe. 8, 7, 6, 5. Straight knees. 4 and 3. Beautiful. And 2. Last time. Knees into chest. Just give them a hug. Okay. There's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? Okay, lovely. So, double leg stretch. But today, I want you to focus on keeping both the feet together, okay? So your toes and the ball of the feet roughly side by side, okay? So from here, we're looking to send the legs forward together. You don't have to go too far and then bring it back in. But here's the change. I want you to think about lifting your bottom. So there's a little bit of a leg stretch, double leg stretch. Come back in, and like your reset is a reverse curl. So we go long, and then we pull in. So what I'm doing with my arms, my arms are mirroring my legs. And then I'm bringing my arms back in as I draw my knees in towards my chest, and I gaze towards my heels. I don't know about you, but I got little mini tremors going on, which is good. It's telling me there's new muscle fibers being recruited to perform the movement. And I can also feel it in the hip flexor. So if I am, I know you are. So, and this is what we're doing. There's a lot of flexion here. So again, noticing what's going on above the bikini line, lower abs, neck into chest. Okay, feet down, lift bottom. Let's take that ball out of the way. Oh, it's nice, isn't it? Okay, so what I'd like to do is to run on the side. Let's have a look at some circles. Okay, so first things first, bring the bottom knee forward. So both knees are stacked. Then take your top leg down your midline and just go for a little stretch there for a minute. Just create some space where the head of the femur is into the pelvis. Just create a nice little stretch and space. A nice tip is to take your arm overhead as well, and it really elongates you. Okay, use the ball, pop the ball in front of you, relax the shoulders, and relax your ear into your arms as we set your top leg. So your top leg's going to float off the ground. And from here, we're going to do some reverse circles. Now, I always feel that these circles are more like splodges. They don't feel particularly round. And I'm noticing an actively encouraging squeezing of the butt muscle through the back side of that circle. Got it? Okay, now we're going to switch directions. Same movement. And again, think about extra clenching. So lovely circles, as if you're drawing a circle on the wall at the bottom of your yoga mat. Okay. And what you should be starting to feel is the waistline trying to fire into this as well. Okay. So by doing that, the next bit from there, hold that leg. We're going to lift the leg and actively use the waistline to do that. So I really want you to think about your spine and your waistline muscles firing up to get that leg lift. Nice and slow. Okay. Stop. Then the next thing is we're going to bend the knee, open the gate, close the gate, take the hinges off, relax and stretch. Got it? Okay. So the leg is extended. Then we flex the hip and knee. Then we externally rotate at the hip. Then we bring both knees together, lift both feet. Feet down, leg lengthen, and repeat. So it's a nice little thinking combo there, isn't it? So open and close and lift, close. Good. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Good. Let's do that last time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Good job. Okay. From there, what I'd like us to do is just to pop that knee, that top knee, nice and high up. And focus into that inner thigh on the bottom leg. So we're going to pull up and the movement here. Or fifth way restricted. It's either or, really. Good job. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Good job. Okay, so switch sides. So the flip up and over or turn around. I am literally covered in loads of green fluff. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. Are we good? Okay. So the first piece was around the setup. We thought about the bent knees, twitching your ear in so you feel nice and relaxed through the top of the body, the hips nice and stacked. Then we send that leg downwards. Got it? Right, good. Okay, simple process. Oh no, we were going to stretch first. Oh gosh, that's really noticeable how one side feels so different from to the other side. And the idea of this stretch is really trying to create that space in the hip. It is important to stretch out where possible around the hip and bottom. Okay, now let's do that reset. So the leg is long and floated and relaxed. And we start to circle. It's just small movements. Lovely, take your time. Notice it's more of a blob than a circle. Actively putting a squeeze in on your bottom. And again, you know, this is something worth thinking about. But sometimes if you've had surgery around the hip joint, sometimes because of the scar tissue, there's a numbness that is in any part of the body. So it's really important to actively squeeze. So rather than just performing the movement, actively squeeze. So you're getting that feedback from the muscles in the butt. Switch direction. And for a long time, I found after my hip surgeries, just couldn't feel it. But it takes a while to build up through scar tissue, new pathways, new connectivity. So it's good to really tune in to what your body's feeling. Isn't that lovely? We like that, right? I don't think they do somehow. Okay, right. So from here, knee bends, leg opens, closes, lifts, lengthens. Bring it in, open it up, close it, lift both feet, lengthen. It's just a nice little combo. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, and again. 1, 2, 3, lovely. 4, 5, So I don't know about you, but I feel like there's an elephant sat on my leg. Starting to really feel heavy through this movement. Lovely. Last time. Good job. Well done. Now we bring that top leg right the way up and in. So we're almost like, because Pat always describes this as one of her sleeping positions. But I want you to think about connecting with the inner thigh now and really actively get that whole leg to lift. And again, some effort is required. And you might feel new parts of your anatomy trying to fire up from the previous movement. Whew. Good job. Two more. Last time. And release. Lovely, 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 lovely. Okay, so give yourself a moment. What we're going to do, we're going to roll onto our backs and we're going to have a look at some bridges, okay? So again, we've been working the hips here. Now when we lie on our back and do bridges, we really get some further focus of movement of the spine and firing up the muscles in the bum. Your hamstrings are going to come into play as well. Right, so lie nice and flat for me. Give yourself a full body stretch first. Okay. Out of that full body stretch, we draw the heels to the bottom. Actually, if you want to bring the ball in, you can pop the ball between your knees. It might help you with your hamstring conversation. Okay, so a gentle squeeze to support that ball between your knees. We're looking to articulate the spine, which means we are lifting each vertebra in sequence away from the ground, and it starts at your tail. So the tail comes up, the pelvis starts to lift, so the bottom is starting to lift. And then from here, the small of the back is lifted up the ribs all the way to the top of your shoulders. And then we start to reverse this movement. Now, I'm okay with adjusting your heels when you start to do this, because I always find if I'm a bit tight or I've been in the garden and my back feels quite tight, I feel that I don't have that flexibility that I once did. So feel free to close your eyes and just tune in and have a feel of what's going on here. Does it feel equal and balanced? Where is it feeling tight? Are you using your low back muscles to perform the movement, or are you engaging your core muscles? Like, really just get into it, because it is personal. But what I'd like to encourage now at the top of the movement to pinch the bottom and then come up onto your tiptoes. See how that feels. I feel I've got loads of tightness around the bottom or the top of my knees, the back of my knees. So my hamstrings feel quite lazy here. So I just want you to keep thinking about, not feeling it today, or I am feeling it today. Top of the movement. Stay there, however it looks like for you. Keep that ball between your knees, and then tiny little presses. So we're looking to do 24 tiny little presses. And really go for it. Give you a height. Lovely. I said that, 24. Where are we at now? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Up and hold. Heels down, spine down, knees to chest. And give yourself a moment. Yep. Okie dokie, okie. Right. Next thing, I do want us to work through inner thigh. Now, it feels really old-fashioned here, what I'm going to do with you next. But I am looking for legs to go to the, straighten off at the knee, go wide, come together, go wide, come together. Got that? Remember that? Okay. Right. So that's where we start. Familiarize yourself with that. Now, here's a warning shot. If your legs start drifting away from your center, you're going to put loads of load onto your lower back. So what I really want you to do is try and keep the knees high. Now, if it's too much, go for a bent knee, but keep the thighs high, because otherwise it's just not fair on your back. Okay. Right, then we're going to add a crisscross. So criss and open and cross and open. Criss, open, cross, open. In, bounce, bounce. In, bounce, bounce. Together, bounce, bounce. And why we're adding the little bounce is because it's allowing gravity here. Bounce, bounce. Good job. Okay, use your hands, legs go wide, pop your hands on the inside of the thighs and hold it there. Okay, now we're going to stretch the legs, drive the heels, so the heels are the highest point, toes down, flexed feet. Again, really important here, getting those inner thighs, hamstrings all kicking in and chatting. Bend your knees, reach up, hold your big toes. Got it? Now, I've always maintained, sometimes gives you a bit of wind. The good thing about this, when you're in this position, your thighs are pressing against your ascending, descending bow. So if you do struggle with constipation, this is a really nice. We used to do this to babies, didn't we? To help our babies. Okay. Now, if you want to progress this, you can straighten off your legs. If you want to adapt it, you might want to hold on to the back of the thighs. But either way, it's about thigh to chest. Okay. Hold left knee into chest tightly. Pop right heel on the ground. Okay. Bring left knee across the body. Pop that knee onto the ground on the right side. Look left. Open up your arm if you can. Breathe, because there's a tendency to breath hold here. Lovely. Okay. Come back to center. Allow the left knee to drift to the ground. Straighten it off. Right knee tuck into your chest. Again, make this big. Actively pull in. Okay, when you're ready, you bring that right leg across to the left side of the body. And then look away. Okay, come back to the center of your body. Okay, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to drop wide. Take your arms overhead just for a moment. Just notice how that feels. And when you're ready, settle into a position that makes you feel comfortable. So we're just going to do a little bit of breathing. So a couple of suggestions here. Maybe knees together if it's too much on your back, but take your feet nice and wide so you've created an A frame. Just simply get yourself into a position where you feel really nice and comfortable. I'm going to come and sit up. And how we started today, I talked about slowing down and noticing. And that's where we are going to be now. Consider the seasons and the seasonal changes and what happens. And everywhere and all around us, there's a slowing down. The leaves are dropping, temperature's cooling. There's a sense of stockpiling and squirreling away in nature, food storage. When we think about our senses, we're noticing these changes. And those changes should be with us too. We've had a really busy year. And the autumn is a real time of reflection, recuperation, and all part of the journey of regeneration. Using this time to do things that make us feel well. The nights are starting to come in. I'd encourage you with this season change to just check in on your own goals, your own ambitions, and setting your stall out for the season ahead. So as we see on the surface change, our roots are still strong and grounded. We see ourselves with strength. So we don't need to worry what's going on in the surface because we've created this energy and warmth in our roots. And we know we're set for challenges ahead. But we need to remind ourselves of our own strength and power. We need to remind ourselves that we are stronger together. And to know that together our energy is magnificent. So we're breathing in, breathing away and letting it go. Breathing in, holding that breath, letting the breath go. Breathing in. Breathing in and holding. letting go. These final moments, just checking in with yourself. You did good. I'm set for the day. I feel strong. I feel challenged. I've got this. Now we create some movements with our fingers and toes. Checking back in with your body. Maybe create some movement, draw your knees to your chest. Maybe roll out your wrists. Bring yourself back into a seated position in your own time. Sending your arms up through your center and then out nice and wide. Settle your hands to the ground. Bring your hands up again. Send it high and overhead. Out wide, palms down towards the ground. Stroke your fingers in towards your body. Send your hands upwards, outwards, beautiful, downwards, inwards. Okay, rub your hands together. Entwine your fingers together. Give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. Well done, you awesome.